What is going on, everybody? Viewers from Mako back with some more Gunfire Reborn content, and the time has come. It has been months and months since our last tier list video, but there are 2 new weapons in the game, some changes to some other weapons, and I've had hours upon hundreds of hours since the last Gunfire tier list video, so there's going to be a lot of changes, which means we're just going to start fresh. It's the 1.0 release, the sign of a new beginning. So we're going to start from scratch and go and rank all of the weapons in Gunfire Reborn on a tier list from S to F. And I cannot wait to hear your guys' disagreements in the comments. But if you want to see some Gunfire Reborn runs live, check out the links in the description. There's a Twitch down there. Second YouTube channel, I may or may not be doing a Nuzlocke of the new Pokemon over there starting soon. Maybe. Not 100% sure yet, but possibly. The Shorts channel, if you want to see some really cool and funny clips, please check that out. Hit the subscribe button on that. And then Discord, where you can find out exactly when I'm going live at all times. So, that being said, check that out. Subscribe to this channel. Plenty more Gunfire content coming here, but let's hop into our rankings. So, we've got all the weapons here. The 2 new ones down here are obviously going to be last, because save the best for last, they say. So let's get into it. Angelic Aura. To probably no one's surprise, this is an S tier weapon. Good on every single character. The fire rate, stability. It's the fastest firing weapon in the game, which helps a lot of different characters, especially like the bunny. Super accurate. DPS output is clean, nice, efficient. There's not much more to say about this weapon besides it fucking slaps, so it's getting S tier. S for slaps. The Argus. Argus is going to get C tier. It's okay. It's okay. The last time they changed it, they changed how it works at longer distances, which it made it a little bit better. I just don't find very much use for this that often. I think it used to be able to spawn with ball synergy, but not anymore, which is a big L. And there's just not a lot of fun combos with it, not a lot of fun inscriptions or anything. So, and it's very average in my opinion, so that's why it's going to be C tier, which is just average. Next up, the Aura of Venom. This one's also going to get a C tier. The Aura of Venom is, a lot of people will probably think it's higher, if I had to guess. I don't like it very much unless I have Advanced Depot. Then it's very, very fun. But that's such a specific build that it's kind of hard to base the entire weapon off that. It's also good. It does spawn with ball synergies occasionally. So it is good with balls. It would look good with balls too. But it's got to be, it's just average for me. If you have Advanced Depot, it's probably like upper B tier. But every other time, it's probably lower C to D tier. So we're just going to meet smack in the middle at C tier. Next up, the Big Hippopotamus. I'm going to put this thing in D. It's very clunky. Your movement speed is decreased drastically as you are walking around with this thing. The rate of fire is kind of nice, but you have to spin it up. It can be fun to dual wield on the dog, but I almost never ever use this weapon. There's never a scenario where I'm like, yeah, I need the big hippo here, as opposed to like an Angelic Aura or any other fast firing weapons that are just have higher DPS output. The exclusive inscriptions are nothing crazy, so D tier for me. Pretty simple. Next up, one that I know you guys are going to be upset with, so let's go ahead and get it over with. Bloody Drill in F tier. I hate it. The rate of fire makes me want to gouge my own eyes out with keycaps, or like one of the fucking, where is it? Where's my fucking, this thing? The thing to take keycaps off of your keyboard. Gouge my eye, just jab it in there and just rip my eyeball out. That's what this weapon makes me want to do because of how slow you fucking fire it. So F tier for the Bloody Drill. I will hear nothing of it. Disagree with me all you want. Oh, but you can, I don't care. Until the fire rate is higher, I will not even sniff it. Next, Bone Dragon. I have to put it in D tier, I think. The only time I really find use for this weapon is on the dog. And mind you, I do take it on the dog sometimes. It's not like I completely ignore it. But on every other character in the game, I don't know why I would take it. So I don't. That's why I'm going to keep it in D tier. It's good on the dog, probably about B tier, I would say, but not on the dog. It's just not it, Chief. So it's going to join our big hippo friend in D tier. It's just not my kind of weapon. The cavalry, the burst auto rifle thing. It's not an auto rifle. It's a burst rifle. B tier. Very, very solid weapon. It can have some pretty good inscriptions on it, but it's not something I would ever really like build my run around. Could be, I suppose. It's good enough to. Has good damage output. The burst aspect is nice sometimes. If you hit the last bullet in the burst, it's guaranteed to crit, which is great. You love to see it. So I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's a really good weapon. It's just a solid weapon. Definitely above average, but not quite breaking into the upper tiers. Concealed ammo. Oh, excuse me. Long day. Concealed ammo. Concealed ammo. I gotta think about this one. Okay, I've thought about it. Not B tier. It's C tier. I'll put it in C. It's good. Its explosive build can be fun on the dog. If they never nerfed the Tiger, this would probably be an A tier because of how much fun that build was. But they did nerf the Tiger. And the concealed ammo can no longer crit with its right click. Yeah, I'm putting it in D tier. I changed my mind while I was explaining it. I don't even take this on the dog anymore. I just think there's a lot more fun weapons to take. And it as an auto or as an SMG, it's once again, why would you ever take it over any of the other SMGs in the game pretty much? So D tier for me. I probably take this less than the Bone Dragon and probably less than maybe as often or less than the Big Hippo. So no from me on the concealed ammo. We'll get that in D tier. Next up, the Firefish Crimson Fire Scale, A tier weapon, well above average. In terms of boss DPS, it's hard to find many weapons that can compete with this one, like on its own without any other help. In fact, I would say there are very few, other than maybe a Demon Lore with a mag inscription or an illusion with some good inscriptions, but this thing can shred under the right circumstances. The only reason it's not in S tier is because the accuracy of this weapon, holy shit. I mean, it's like a, I can't even describe what it's like shooting. You're shooting a spread of bullets. You're shooting like a shotgun spread, but one bullet at a time. It's like you're all over the fucking place, and it's so hard to aim it. If you have like accuracy buffs, it makes it a little bit better and closer to S tier, but this thing is buck wild in terms of its accuracy. That's the only reason it's not in S tier. Demon Lore, it has to be S tier. With Against the Flow, Advanced Depot, some of the different ascensions on characters, you can get relatively infinite ammo, and then this just becomes the best weapon in the game. There's no way around it. It's just the best weapon in the game if you have that ammo synergy, and it's as simple as that, really. Not much more to say, right? Holy shit, you guys like the inside of my mouth? Fuck, you're seeing a lot today. God damn. So it's S tier. It has potential to be the best weapon in the game with just a little bit of help. It doesn't even need a ton of help. And even if you don't have ammo synergies, it's still a very solid weapon with fire elements. Elemental damage is always a plus. So S tier for the Demon Lore. Double Cal, C tier. Good weapon, hard-hitting weapon. Really good on the Tiger, but I don't play a lot of the Tiger. Probably why it's not higher for me. On other characters, it's still a solid weapon. I really like how it feels when I'm hip firing this thing. In terms of snipers, not including bows, just the actual sniper rifles, I think it's my favorite. For sure, I like the double cal a lot. But, holy shit. That's the last yawn of this fucking video. Alright. Last one. I'm going to suppress it. So, C tier it goes. Yeah. Dragon Chaser. Oh, whoa. D tier. Its only solid use, in my opinion, is the Wind God, because you can mark the Wind God right in his fucking melon and then rip it off with the Dragon Chaser. Outside of that, it doesn't do a lot of damage. I don't like having to worry about marking shit the entire run, so I would never ever build a run around it. And like I said, the only time I would ever take this weapon, most likely, is right before the Wind God. If like the Peddler right before the Wind God, so it's just chalked. Next up, we have the Dual Fang, nice B tier weapon. On all characters, overall, solid choice. It's not bad. Its damage output is good. Once again, elemental damage is nice. Only weapon in the game that has 2 elements at once. Well, Talisman, kind of, but the Dual Fang's really good. On the Cat, this is an S tier weapon. It's not even remotely close. But on everybody else, it's probably like a C, so we'll go to a B tier. It's above average. Solid choice if you're on the Cat. If you've never used the Dual Fang with the Cat, please go do it. It's a crazy synergy and a lot of fun. Also, if you have Elemental Weave, this is almost a must-take because you can guarantee constant explosions the entire run, which is not bad. So, fun weapon to use, above average, pretty good, and yeah, B tier it is. Right where the Fire Dragon's going to be as well. Almost a very exact same description as this. Fire Dragon's just a really solid weapon. It's probably leaning towards A tier. On the Cat, it makes it even better because of the elemental synergies, but it pierces through horse heads early, or anything for that matter. You do have to be kind of close with its range, but it shreds through enemies and does a lot of damage. Not super hard to hit with since it's a constant stream of fire. And overall, just a really, really solid weapon to take. Once again, probably very, very close to A tier in my opinion. Next up, we have the Fire Tower, and look how they massacred my boy. This one's kind of a weird. This one's a weird one for me. I don't actually remember where I put it last time, but I know if I would have done another tier list between the last one and this one, this would have been an S tier. But now I gotta put it in B tier, I think, because the only character I ever take this on is the Cat, and it does really, really good. Like, if you do a Cat synergy and try to get to Pyro Dominance tier 3 and all the other elemental buffs that the Cat has, plus the smoke grenades, obviously, so you're getting constant explosions on a hard-hitting weapon, it's a lot of damage. In fact, the most damage I'd ever done in a single run before this update was with the Cat plus the Fire Tower. And it got taken over by Punchy Boy in the video earlier today. But this synergy was so good, but they nerfed the Fire Tower in the full release, lowered its damage output, and it's definitely a noticeable change. So I have to bump it down to B. It just doesn't quite smack around like it used to. So, yeah. Next, Flowing Light, the first melee weapon they released. I've always despised it. I don't think it does nearly enough damage. It's just never, ever been worth it for me whatsoever. Not useful. I don't take it on any character for any reason ever. I don't like it very much at all. So F tier for the Flowing Light. Foundry is up next, the starting pistol. I'm just going to smack it in C. It's I'll put it in D tier. It's an okay weapon. It can hit kind of hard if you upgrade other weapons enough. It has infinite ammo, which is lit. So, but yeah, D tier. Next up, the Frenzied Shark. And golly, I just at a row below. Dyslexic. Believe that's good. And we'll just make it right there. Oh, look. There's a... Wait, what? How did this... Wait, no. Hold on. Hold up. What? Wait. What? Hello? Move that down. This here. This... Stop. Why are you like this? F. Done. Here. This is who designed this. There we go. We figured it out eventually here. And we'll make it just a random... We'll make it pink, because why not? Make it stand out a bit. This is the worst weapon in the game. This might be one of the worst weapons I've ever seen in any game in existence. It has literally zero use. At least the flowing light can make you move faster. This is the worst grenade launcher in existence. It does less damage than pretty much every other explosive weapon in the game, and it's harder to control where your explosions happen because the projectiles are bouncing all over the fucking room. Not to mention the AoE on the explosions isn't even that good, so it's not like you're blasting the whole fucking room. You're hitting... It is awful. It is a worse version of every other explosive weapon. I hate it. I want it gone from the game. I want it either completely revamped or just tossed from the game. And it hurts me to say that because it's a frenzied shark. My entire brand is based around sharks. I love sharks. Look at this. Look at this little guy. He sits right at the upper left of my streaming thing. All day. Every day. And I just... Look at it. Look at him. I love sharks. But this thing does not deserve to have shark in its name. It doesn't deserve this honor. So, fuck this weapon. It's terrible. Somebody try to convince me otherwise in the comments. But just know you're wrong. The Frenzied Shark is awful and the worst weapon in the game. There's no doubt about it. Next up, the Glimmering. We're going to put that bad boy in C. Fun fact about the Glimmering. A lot of you probably don't know because most of you are probably newer to the game. The Glimmering, when it came into the game, it's probably been 8-9 months ago, was the most broken weapon that's ever existed in Gunfire Reborn. You could take a Glimmering from the starting chest, never upgrade it, not get any Ascensions or Scrolls, and pretty easily clear Elite, and I don't even know if Nightmare existed at that point, but you could clear Elite mode, which is kind of saying something. Like, that's not super easy to do without any Scrolls, Ascensions, and not upgrading your weapon, so it was busted. And then they had a huge nerf, and now it's just kind of okay. Decent early game. You know, you have the explosions, fire element. Once again, elemental damage plays an important role. So, not a bad weapon, but not something I'm gonna build a run around. But it's definitely better than this tier of weapon, for sure. Next up, the Golden Bow. Now the bows, the Golden Bow I'm gonna put in C. I like the bows more than the snipers in terms of the high impact, low rate of fire weapons. I like the feel of the bows a little bit more. It just kind of, reaches up inside me and tickles that spot. You guys know what I'm talking about. A little bit more than the snipers. So that's why this one, the Golden Bow, though, I'm going to put in C because they've nerfed it twice now. I didn't think it needed the first nerf, and I really don't think it needed the second nerf, but they did nerf it twice, and it's just not... it is still very good, very potent. I just don't think it feels quite as good anymore. So I'm going to keep it in C tier. It's okay. It's average. I really like how bows feel in the game. I just wish they didn't nerf it. The Go Shock, F. Probably my second least taken weapon behind the Frenzied Shark. I don't like the charge up time. There is an exclusive inscription that lowers the charge up time when you're scoped. It's not that bad to deal with then, but feels clunky, feels slow paced and out of character for this game, or for at least how I play this game. So just not for me. F tier. I don't like it. If you argue with this one with me in the comments, I'll probably let you get away with it because I can see how people would like this one because it has insane damage output. I just don't like it very much. The hell, god damn. This one's tough for me to do, but based on how often I use it, I think I have to put it in D tier. I think I do. When this weapon first came out, I loved it. Had a really funny bug when if you had enough reload speed, you basically just fucking spam fired fish into its mouth. You guys ever seen the episode of Drake and Josh where they have to work at a sushi place, and the sushi's coming out on the conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt starts going like Mach 20, and they can't keep up? That's how you reloaded this weapon with enough reload speed. It was a bug. They fixed it. But I love this weapon, and I just don't find it useful anymore. Early game, it's not bad to take, because it has piercing by default. You can pierce through shields, which is really nice. But it just doesn't seem quite as potent as I once thought it was. And maybe it's just because I've kind of fallen off using it a little bit. Maybe I need to get back to using it some more and give it a little more of a chance. But it's just not it. It's just not it. So I'm going to put it in D tier with these weapons. I think it's a good spot for it in my opinion. Next up, the Illusion. S tier, easy for me. The damage output on this thing is nutty. Has really good accuracy, super easy to hit with. The reason I'd put it at lower S, maybe leaning towards A, is because of its ammo issue. You can crank through ammo on this thing. Like, just spank the ammo out of it. Like, faster than you spank the semen out of yourself when you find that perfect video. Faster than that is how fast ammo flies out of this thing. So, if it wasn't for that, it would be easy S tier. This is a tougher S tier one. I think I might have said easy choice at the beginning, but it is tougher S tier, lower S tier. But it does so much damage. You can get it with piercing, you can get it with projectile increase, you can get it with a range increase, or an accuracy increase is really funny because you shoot like a slug shot with it. So Illusion's very good, very fun to use, very good weapon. You can never really go wrong with one. The Justice. This is an interesting one for me. This is another case. This is another Glimmering scenario. Not quite the same though. I'm gonna put the Justice in B tier. Justice was broken for a while. They ended up nerfing it, but for a while the Justice was very broken. S tier, easy. Now it's B tier. I think it's still really, really good early game. Like, I would argue there are very few weapons that can clear rooms early game as well as the Justice, just because a lot of the rooms are tighter, more compact, as opposed to like the desert or any other area where it's a lot more open and wide out in the outside world. So in the early game, this hits really hard, gets through horse heads with ease, and is super useful. But because of the range decrease, the damage decrease, the rate of fire, the magazine decrease, everything they nerfed last time made it not super. It doesn't scale real well into late game. So it is an S tier early weapon, but probably a D tier late game weapon. So we'll meet in the middle and put it at B. Next up, the laser gloves. This is a real interesting one, because based on my, I'm gonna put it in C. I think it has potential to be higher for some people. I just don't use it super often. When I do, I enjoy it, and it's good. I don't know if it's not great. It's good. Its exclusives can be fun. They're okay. I just don't. It's definitely not D tier, but I can't find it in myself to put it on the same row as these weapons. It does a lot of damage to a single target. Elemental procs are pretty good with this thing. So on the cat, it's real nice, but you know, I just don't think it's above C tier. I really don't. So I'm going to keep it in this tier, and I like it right in the middle. So this is like a very, very middle of the road weapon for me. Lightning Blast. I'm actually gonna put this in F tier. I was thinking about putting it in D tier, but looking at these weapons in D tier, I enjoy using those more than this thing. So it's probably upper F tier, but it's still in the fucking shit tier. So Okay, I should have probably muted my Discord before this, shouldn't I have? Um, oh, I do have it. I just don't have this channel muted. Sag. Okay, anyway. Lightning Blast, the right click, I never find a good time to use the right click. The left click hits like a fucking, you're throwing marshmallows at people. You're literally shooting out lightning marshmallows. Not good. The elemental effects on it do not make up for how little this weapon hits. And the only time I've ever used this weapon for anything was when I was trying to min-max, just wring every drop of damage out of the atomic bomb synergy that I could, because anything that goes through this, the right click, does more damage. So I was trying to min-max to the fucking balls to the wall, if you know what I'm saying. So it's not good though. It's shit. So F tier. Piercing Flame, it's gonna join our other sniper friends. C tier, it's good. It pierces. It has fire damage. It hits hard on the Tiger. It's really nice. Not much more to say about it. I'd like it slightly less than the double cal, but yeah, okay, there. not much more to say about the Piercing Flame. Poisonous Ghost, D tier. The only melee weapon they really hit the Nas with was the Fire Tower. It is better than the Flowing Light, I think, mainly because of how fucking sick the design is. The look of this weapon and the reload animation is sick. Its usefulness, not as much. I do think it is more useful than the Flowing Light, though. But I would, most of the time when I'm using a Poisonous Ghost, it's for movement speed, and that's about it. So I guess on the new character, kind of nice if you're doing like a fully punch build, because the faster you're moving, the better off you are. So, kind of cool. Porcupine, C tier. I think it's a very average weapon. You can right click and left click at the same time, fun fact, if some of you didn't know that. Kind of get a little extra DPS out of it, squeeze some damage, but it just doesn't hit super hard, and has limited range, and it just doesn't usually do it for me. Prism, next up. Prism I'm going to put right next to its friend, the Glimmering. I think it's on the same exact tier. The elemental damage is nice. The piercing is really nice. The ricochet is really nice too. The balls, you can get balls on a Prism. You can get a Prism with balls. So you can get a Glimmering with balls too, for that matter. So probably upper C for both of these, but just not good enough to get up into the other categories up here for sure. Next up, the Pupil. Pupil is an interesting one. After the changes, it's going to get the S tier nod. It's super accurate and easy to control. It hits like a fucking demolition derby bus. It has lightning damage, can easily proc, miasma on the cat, which is super good. And there's not much more to say. It shoots fast, hits hard, is very accurate, and has elemental damage. What else do you want in a weapon? I mean, it uses large ammo, so it doesn't really have ammo issues like the Illusion. It's just a all-around beater of a weapon. You could easily build an entire run around this weapon and be very successful. So, S tier for ya boy Pupil. Next up, the Rainbow Arc. Rainbow Arc. If I could put this in between C and D tier, I would, because that is exactly where it is. But I can't, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, I think. Its right click hits really hard. It's really nice for, if you want to make sure you finish an enemy off. Its left click isn't bad. Like the actual rifle version of it is not bad at all. A little slow firing, but pretty accurate and hits pretty hard, so I'll give it the nod to C tier. It's barely in C tier, but I'll give it the nod in C tier. I don't use it very often, but when I do, I have some fun runs with it. Can be really good on the Tiger with its right click, so that's why I'm going to keep it in C tier. Next up, the Rainbow. Yeah, I'm going to get clowned for this one, but that's going D tier. Early game speedruns, pristine. Any other time of the game, for me, I don't like it at all. I just don't like it. It's not good to me. It's just not. The damage output isn't there, and I haven't really tried super hard with it. I haven't given it the time of day it deserves. So those of you in the comments that love this thing, fine, just roast me for this one, but I'll stick by my pick for now. Next up, the Scalpel. Finally getting somebody to join our lonely friend in the A tier. Really, really good weapon. Super high crit, considering it's a fully auto weapon with a very fast fire rate. Extremely accurate. And, I mean, there's not much more you need. Because it has a high crit, high fire rate, and is very accurate, you're really going to be doing really well with this weapon. Just click on their heads, right? It's that easy. So, does a lot of damage, can have some good ascensions on it. Lightning from Void, it's very good at proccing Lightning from Void once a second. So, yeah, just an A tier weapon, super high damage output. Doesn't have any element by default, which could be a good thing because it's equally effective against all enemy types, which is nice. So, I'll give it the A tier for sure. Next up, Scorching Rounds. I'm going to put it in B tier. I feel like a lot of people would have this lower. I'm kind of biased towards it. I really like hand cannons, especially like Magnum type hand cannons. So I really like how this weapon feels when I shoot it. I really like its reload, how fast it reloads and gets right back into the fray. Does some explosive damage. For those of you that don't know, I am a slut for explosions. And yeah, just overall a good weapon. Fire elemental damage. I think it falls off for sure, but I think it's viable through the desert. Maybe not for the second boss, but getting to the second boss, I think it's viable. Solid weapon. And I'll put it lower B tier, but it is in B tier. Next up, the Shrieker. And I am going to put this in A tier. Now, I think it's lower A tier. I'm probably doing the same thing here that I did with the Rainbow Arc, where it should be in between A and B, but I'll give it the nod. They changed this in the last major update, I think, and made it silly, especially on the dog. The explosions, the AoE you can get on the explosions with this thing on the dog is borderline ridiculous. And even on every other character, it's still a really solid weapon. It's good for getting through shields. It's good for a little bit of AoE and just relatively high damage output. It's just a very solid weapon to have overall, and it's not quite with these, but it's also not quite with these, if you know what I'm saying. So I'll give it the A tier nod, but it's close. It's close. Start of Hour, I'm going to put it in the same tier as Lightning Blast because that's kind of how I see it. There's zero reason for me to take this over the other SMGs in the game. I would rather have a concealed ammo than that. I hate the way it reloads by recharging. That makes me want to vomit. I don't have any real specific reason. It just kind of triggers. I'm triggered when this weapon reloads like that. So F tier for the Start of Hour. Never ever use it for any reason. I don't. So F. Sting. The Sting is going to get F tier. I never use this weapon at all. I don't like it. Hate how it shoots. Hate the design. Yeah, just we're on a little bit of a bad streak here, but just stay away from me, okay? No to the Sting. Strike Wing, the bow that I really like. This feels a little bit better than the Golden Bow. I told you I like how bows feel, and the Strike Wing makes that feeling. It turns the good feeling into good results, because I think it's just better than the Golden Bow. You can get balls on it. The piercing shots do wonders, and it's great. It's just a really great weapon to have. I love how it feels. Hits hard. Really, really good on the Tiger. My go-to weapon for sure, even though I don't play him very often. But Strike Wing for the win. Put it in B tier. Next up, the Sunder is going to join their friends in B tier. Probably closer to A tier, mainly because this is the best weapon by a country mile with the ball synergy. And for those of you that don't know, the ball synergy is the 80% chance to create a lightning ball, fireball, corrosive ball on crit. It's really, really good inscription on any weapon. But on a Sunder, which shoots multiple projectiles, each projectile has an 80% chance to proc this. Do I need to say more? But without that synergy, it's still a really good weapon and hits pretty hard, so that's why it gets the B tier. Talisman is going to get the B tier. You could actually probably make a good argument that the Talisman might be a little bit better than the Sunder for ball synergy, because it already has elemental damage baked in and guaranteed crits. So maybe it is a little bit better than the Sunder, but both are very, very good with balls. So, you know, you gotta love somebody who's good with balls, and these are. So, Talisman gets B tier. On the Cat, A or S tier. It doesn't hit super hard, but if you're trying to work some sort of elemental magic, you're not gonna find a better weapon than the Talisman, because you have every element at your disposal at all times. So, Talisman gets a easy B tier nod. Thunderclap gloves are going to be same exact thing as the laser gloves, where they're good. The AoE spread is nice. The elemental damage is nice, but it doesn't quite hit as hard. It's literally right in the middle of all the weapons in this game. Thunderstorm is, I'll give it D tier. Its right click doesn't do it for me, even after all the changes they've made. The left click feels okay. It hits fine, but it just doesn't, like, all these weapons above just feel better. Like, I just never take it, because it's like, why would I? There's almost always a better option to have. So Thunderstorm's gonna get D tier for me. Not my weapon, but it could probably be argued a little bit higher. Tiger Cannon. I'm very I'm gonna put it in B. It could maybe get A, but until this update, the most fun I was having in the game was when I was dual wielding Tiger Cannons on the dog. The explosions were fun and just silly, and it was a good time, and very, very good, by the way. So if you're on the dog, this is an S tier weapon. If you're on any other character, it's good early game, but it will fall off. So I'll give it the B tier. That might be a little high, but maybe not. It's a very good weapon. It does a lot of damage, so fuck it. I'm sticking by it. You go, Tiger Cannon. The Wild Hunt. I'll put it in C, and it's probably closer to D, but I have to give it a little bit of bonus points for having maybe one of the most fun things to do in the game. Wild Hunt Advanced Depot is silly. It's crazy how fast you fire. It's super fun and just wonky. And if you haven't done it, everybody should do it once. If you play this game, get a Wild Hunt and try to find Advanced Depot, or find Advanced Depot and then find a Wild Hunt, and just go to town. Have some fun on a boss. It's like a dumpster on a boss that can't move or barely moves. So, other than that, though, I don't find many practical uses for it. On the bird with Hail of Bullets, it's good. It gets a little bit of extra from that, but yeah, most of the time, just not it. Just not it for me. So, Wild Hunt gets a C. The Woodpecker, I'll give it a B. It hits pretty hard. It shoots very fast, and it's very accurate. Like, it feels good scoped in, and when you're hip firing it, it can spawn with balls. Another very good weapon with balls, and not too much more to say. I mean, it doesn't do enough damage to put it in like A tier, but this is a weapon. Oh, it also can get 25% chance to kill instantly on crit, which this is a great weapon to have that with, because you're hitting very often. The more you hit, the better that inscription is. So it's very good. It's very good. but not good enough to put it on A or S tier level. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, 40 minutes in, and we get to these two bad boys. The Mortar and the Ice Spear. We're going to start with the Ice Spear. And we're going to put that bad boy smack in the A tier, baby, because this thing fucking slaps. It hits pretty damn hard. But not only does it hit real hard, its right click is fucking nutty, baby. When you right click, it guarantees a crit. It pulls all your little ice shards back, and it focuses it on like this, the line your crosshair is in. So it pulls them all back, crits the enemy. It can spawn with ball synergy, which if you haven't watched the very first gameplay video on my channel, where I talk about the luckiest spear drop ever, it had double ball synergy, lightning ball, fireball, and when you're critting as often as you're going to be critting with this weapon, balls are good. Balls are good. So it's a ton of fun, and even if you don't have balls, it hits so hard. It has an AoE element if you want to like put one of the ice spears down and let it twirl and like take care of like lanterns or something while you focus on something else. By all means, you can do it with this weapon. High damage, pretty good rate of fire, AoE, crit like crazy, balls. It's exactly what you want. It's not quite S tier because it doesn't have that extra damage. Like, it just doesn't have enough damage for me to consider it S tier. I haven't even tried this thing with the Tiger yet, and I really want to soon. I will, but it's an easy A tier in my opinion. And now the Mortar. Oh, the Mortar. What can I say about the Mortar? I feel like I'm giving a toast at a wedding or something. It's S tier. It's S tier. It's that simple. It's good on every character, all around, a good weapon. It's close range explosions and long range explosions. When you hit an enemy for the first time, it will stun them, kind of like all explosions do. Helps get through shields early game. Like I said, you can arc your shots a little bit, so you can get a little finesse action. You know, get that follow through. Get a little arc on the explosions if you need it. So you can basically have infinite range explosions. Wherever you want your explosions to go, you can do that. When you're able to use it super close range, its AoE is wild. There's like 8 different explosions that happen that all hit pretty hard. On the dog, don't even get me started with this build on the dog. When I couldn't beat R8 the first couple times, Reincarnation level 8, I was like, okay, well, all I'm going to do is go to the dog and use the Mortar. I did. We beat Reincarnation 8. Dual wield mortars with explosive synergy is mind-bogglingly good. And once again, on other characters, it's still really fucking solid. So, it's S tier. They nailed these two new weapons. And they're both very, very fun and good to use. And I would go have fun and good use them now if you haven't. So that's my weapon tier list. One little last overview here. We got S all the way through the who designed this at the end. And I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, just looking at the list, by far and away, these are the weapons I use the most. There's just no doubt about that. But overall, it's a real solid list, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. So let me know what y'all think. Here's my tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys. Like I said, check the link in the description as always. Sub to the channel. Plenty of Gunfire content coming soon. Turn on those notifications. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.